Thanks for joining us for Wink News this morning on WXCW. We still have another hour of news ahead of us.
Wink News anchors Teresa O'Shea and Sean Kreisman are ready to continue our coverage and let us know what's ahead at 9.
Yeah, good morning, Rob and Jen. Good morning, Southwest Florida. Protests break out overnight in Chicago as police officer who shot and killed a teen is released from jail on bond, plus what the city's mayor plans to do today to keep the peace.
And today is a big day for a historical landmark in downtown Fort Myers. We're talking about the old courthouse. It turns 100 years old today. We're live to mark that milestone ahead on Wink News this morning.
Live from Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News This Morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for the 9 o'clock hour of Wink News this morning on WXCW. I'm Teresa O'Shea.
And I'm Sean Kreisman. A lot to get to in the next 60 minutes, but first, some of the best video and sound from overnight and this morning in the Wink News Eye Opener.
After evaluating it, speaking with my clients, speaking with experts in the field, I came to the conclusion that it's a case that is absolutely defensible.
Officer Jason Van Dyke has been able to bail out of jail after his arrest on murder charges.
Protests have been a steady reality in Chicago. Those demonstrations have remained mostly peaceful.
The lawyers for convicted felon Johar Tsarnaev will appeal for a new trial. The Boston bomber says that he did not get a fair trial.
But how about we do this with CNN? I won't do the debate unless they pay me $5 million, all of which money goes to the wounded warriors or go to vets.
Frontrunner Donald Trump joked that CNN should pay him to participate in the next debate later this month.
Fort Myers police are joining a nationwide effort to make our roads safer.
Driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol continues to be the most often committed and deadliest crime in America.
You never know what kind of danger you're going to find on the roads. Not all of it has 4 wheels. Collier County Sheriff deputies are telling us that a bear was eating out of some trash cans near Everglades and Golden Gate Boulevards around midnight, and the driver of a Subaru didn't see it, crashed right into this bear.
And it's blocked. And it's picked up by Will Hill. Hill's going to get a block. Will Hill is going to win the game on a blocked field goal. Unbelievable.
And whoever can go faster gets a free post-workout drink afterwards. How you feeling, John?
Feel great. I gotta earn that tequila.
That's your Wink News This Morning Eye Opener.
All right, good morning, 9:01. That'll be up at 9:11. Over to you.
We have some breaking news just coming into the Wink newsroom in the last hour. Punta Gorda police confirmed the teenager murdered while working the overnight shift at 7-Eleven was shot to death. This is according to the Charlotte Sun. It's been 1 month since Kyle Farishian was found inside the convenience store after someone called 911 to report a fire there. Police have not yet made any arrests in this case. You can count on Wink News to stay on top of this developing story. And new overnight, a U.S. Marine found guilty of killing a transgender woman found strangled in a Philippines hotel room last year.
Today, the court in Olongapo sentenced Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton to up to 12 years in prison. Police said the naked body of Jeffrey Laud, also known as Jennifer, was found with her head in a toilet at that hotel room shortly after midnight in October of 2014. Pemberton told police he choked Laud, but then tried to revive her. According to police, he said he'd become angry with Laud upon discovering she had male genitalia.
Also new this morning, Germany one step closer to joining the fight against ISIS in Syria. The plan coming from the German cabinet still needs parliamentary approval. It would send up to 1,200 German soldiers to help support the international coalition still being formed. France requested Germany's help in defeating ISIS after last month's terror attacks in Paris. The agreement from Germany comes 1 day before the British Parliament votes on airstrikes against ISIS targets in Syria. The former cop charged with killing a teenager in Chicago is out of jail after posting bond.
Meanwhile, protests continue, and Mayor Rahm Emanuel is making moves to create a new task force. Wink News anchor Rob Spicker has been following the story all morning long. Rob, what did we know so far about this new initiative that the mayor's trying to create?
Well, Teresa and Sean, what Mayor Rahm Emanuel wants right here is more police accountability. And under the task force he's proposing, he says his office is going to be reviewing the kinds of oversight police officers get and how much the city is training them. This is all because the mayor finds himself right in the middle of a political firestorm over the city's handling of the shooting of Laquan McDonald. This morning, the former Chicago police officer, Jason Van Dyke, is out of jail after paying the $150,000 required of his $1.5 million bail to get out. Van Dyke is facing a first-degree murder charge in the killing of McDonald. It happened during a confrontation with police back in October of 2014. The autopsy shows McDonald was shot 16 times. Now, Van Dyke's lawyer says his client's not a flight risk. He has no passport and has never been out of the country. He says the officer is going to fight the charge.
He believes that he acted correctly, and at the end of the day, if a judge or jury decides that he didn't, well, I think he's prepared to accept the consequences.
Since the release of the dash cam video of the shooting was made public last week, protests have been a steady reality in Chicago. The demonstrations mostly have been peaceful, leaders urging just the groups to come and stand together. The protesters are questioning why that video was kept from the public for more than a year and why the murder charge only came once the judge ordered the video to be released. A lot of the protesters want Mayor Emanuel to resign, and they want the police chief fired, saying there has been a cover-up. Trace, back to you.
All right, Rob, thank you for that update. New developments in the investigation of a Planned Parenthood shooting in Colorado. Officials say the alleged gunman was also accused of sexual assault back in 1992. 57-year-old Robert Deere is accused of killing 3 people at the clinic last week. He's scheduled to be formally charged next week. The district attorney in Colorado Springs says he could face charges other than first-degree murder. So far, police have released little information about Deere's background, and documents related to the shooting investigation have been sealed. Meanwhile, that shooting has caused security concerns at Planned Parenthood facilities across the country. Here in Florida, clinics remain open and there have been no specific threats. The CEO of Planned Parenthood in Southwest and Central Florida says they will never stop providing services. Meanwhile, state investigators say there's no evidence that Planned Parenthood in Florida purchased or sold human organs or tissue. You may remember back in August, health officials reported 3 clinics were illegally performing second trimester abortions.
Today, defense lawyers of Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev are heading to federal court to ask a judge for a new trial. They are arguing a Supreme Court ruling in June puts 15 of Tsarnaev's convictions into question, and they say the jury could not have been objective. Earlier this year, Tsarnaev was convicted and sentenced to death for his role in the 2013 attack that killed at least 3 people and injured more than 260 others. New overnight, some answers as to what caused an AirAsia plane to crash last year, killing 162 people. The National Transportation Safety Committee announced this morning an analysis of the data recorder showed the Airbus A320 had problems with its rudder control system. The pilots tried to fix that problem, but the plane stalled, then crashed into the Java Sea. Aircraft maintenance records show the plane had problems with its rudder system 23 times in the 12 months prior to that crash.
Today, Florida Fish and Wildlife officers will resume their search for a missing boater from Englewood. The U.S. Coast Guard suspended its search for 48-year-old Jeffrey Reinhardt, but the FWC says it has no plans to do so. Reinhardt was last seen on Friday, and his boat was found a day later off the coast of Naples. Only Week News went out on the water with wildlife officers as they scoured the water.
We're just hoping that he has his life jacket on and we'll be able to pick up that bright orange color. We're concentrating our search from Redfish Pass all the way up to Gasparilla Island and out about 12 nautical miles.
We're told crews will set up a grid pattern in that search area. You can count on Week News for any updates in the investigation as we learn more.
Happening now, Lee County commissioners are marking a historic milestone in downtown Fort Myers.
We're talking about the old county courthouse, which turns 100 years old today. We want to take you to a live look at the ceremony happening right now. The building on Main Street opened its doors on December 1st, 1915. This is Clerk of Courts Linda Doggart speaking right now. Let's listen in for a moment.
The 1950 time capsule contents are on display on the second floor of this building. If you haven't seen that, take this opportunity this morning to go and visit that. It's very, very interesting even if you're not a historian. So it's impossible to know what our residents in the future will do with these artifacts that we've left them.
Again, that's the Clerk of Courts there speaking. We have a crew on the scene covering the ceremony, and as soon as things wrap up, we'll have a live report for you coming up in this 9 o'clock hour. Also today, city leaders in Fort Myers will discuss adding more security cameras downtown. They've been considering adding extra security measures because of incidents like the deadly ZombieCon shooting back in October. The cameras would cost about $300,000 to install. Council members say the money would come from state and federal grants and the city budget. The City says it wants this approved in the next week so cameras can be installed during the holidays. Also today, Fort Myers police are raising awareness for the dangers of driving under the influence. At 10 o'clock this morning, police will give more information about how you can stay safe on the roads. Now, December is National 3D Month. It's to raise awareness for drinking, drugs, and driving. In Lee County, law enforcement is making it 4D Month, which stands for drinking, drugs, and distracted and drowsy driving. In Lee County, 84 people were killed in traffic accidents in 2014. This year, as of October 31st, 77 people were killed on the roads. Officials say between 48 and 52% of trauma alerts have alcohol or illicit drugs or both in their system at the time of the crash. Since January 1st of 2014, there have been more than 1,000 bicycle and pedestrian crashes. Now, after several days of big deals for consumers, today is a day of giving rather than buying.
That's right. It's Giving Tuesday, a day when people all over the country donate to their charity of their choice just in time for the holidays. Participants can show their support on social media using the hashtag Giving Tuesday. This is the 4th year of the event.
President Obama is meeting with the president of Turkey today on the sidelines of climate talks in Paris. The president's warning world leaders time is running out to combat global warming. We have the latest from today's meetings coming up.
And Bluebell has a new flavor soon to hit the store shelves. Wink News has the scoop coming up a little later in the newscast. Mary.
All right, thanks. Well, getting a look right now, we do have a front that's on its way, and that's going to increase our rain chances. I've got the details on the timing when we come back.
News this morning. A beautiful start to our day already. Hopefully we have more of that on tap.
We need that. Yeah, it's going to be nice, you know, especially it's the first day of December and we're going to be in the 80s. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
It's going to be nice.
About that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get a look right now at what's going on in Southwest Florida. In the afternoon, low 80s for the weekend and drying out. Over to you.
All right, Mary, thank you. We want to take you back out to downtown Fort Myers, where a ceremony marking the 100th birthday of the Old County Courthouse just wrapped up.
That's right. Wink News reporter Stephanie Susskind. She's live there now. Steph, tell us about some of the speakers and comments that were made this morning.
Yeah, it was a very short but sweet ceremony to honor the 100-year-old courthouse here today. Commission Chairman Frank Mann led the ceremonies. All of the county commissioners talked about some of their best memories of the courthouse, and they also talked about what a magnificent building this really is. The clerk, Linda Doggett, also talked about the architecture here, the columns, the bricks, the steps, just everything that makes this building so special. The doors first opened December 1st, 1915. 100 years ago. They talked about the price differences, the $100,000 it took to build it back then, and the millions of dollars it took to renovate the building back in about 1989. Commissioners talked about their first memories of the courthouse. Commissioner Frank Mann talked about how his mother used to work in this building. Commissioner Brian Hammond talked about when he was appointed commissioner by Governor Rick Scott and just walking over to this building and walking right into his very first commission meeting. So those were some of the memories that were discussed here today. They also talked about a time capsule that they're putting together. Lots of different unique items, different memories of the courthouse, pictures of the construction and of the building. And they're also putting some items of today in that time capsule, including an iPhone and a small jump drive just to represent what life is like today. They'll be putting all of those items together and then putting them inside that time capsule to put it in the clerk's vault here inside the building. A reception going on inside right now, all in honor of the 100th birthday of the old courthouse. Reporting live in downtown Fort Myers, Stephanie Susskind, Wink News this morning.
Stephanie, thank you. Well, the holidays are upon us. It's a time to relax with family and friends, and that often means more eating and drinking. Well, today we'll help you beat the holiday bulge.
And a local gym is offering holiday exercise tips, and we're getting an inside look. So where's Wink Now? Wink News reporter John Tweedweiler, he is live with the answer. Good morning, John. How you feeling now?
Good morning, Sean and Therese. I'm a little sore already. We actually, in break, we were working out, weren't we?
Yeah, you guys were getting after it. You and Nick were both getting after it.
We were getting after it a little bit. Okay, we're going to get ready. Time for a push-up contest with owners Ryan and Jen. Are we ready?
Yeah, so we got Ryan Day and Jen Sawtell Day here on the left-hand side, and we're going to see who can do the most push-ups in about 30 seconds. You guys ready to go?
Let's go.
All right, ready? 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, while they're doing that, we want to talk about burning the holiday bullets. It's what it's all about here at Burn Boot Camp Naples this season, right, Devin?
Yeah, just there's a lot of stuff going on during the holidays. Family, travel, dinner parties, eating out. Just making sure that you're staying moving. Stay moving, keep your body moving, wake up every single day with a plan to work out and go to bed with that satisfaction that you can actually do it. Look at these guys.
They're still going, and this is a competition, but when it's not, you and your partner, you want to maybe work out with someone to keep you motivated, keep you on track. You're doing great, guys.
Yeah, keep it up, you guys. And this is not a competition. These are the owners, Jen and Ryan. They're super fit people, so they can compete with each other. But our nature at Burn Boot Camp is non-competitive. We really want to preach working together, not against each other.
Are we over 30 seconds? I think we're over 30 seconds. What did we do? What did they do? How many did you do?
I did 32.
32?
36.
Oh, Jen. Guess what Jen wins? Check this out. We want to come over here real fast. Jen wins a little healthy meal, because this is also what it's all about here, is eating healthier during the holidays. You guys have kind of stuff like this, right, Devin?
Yeah, this is Creative Fit Meals, and as you can see, they come in, they stock our coolers here. I'll give you a better shot of this thing if I can get it out of the box.
Open that up.
And it's and you can read the grams of protein on the front of it. This is Thai chicken curry.
Looks delicious, and it's healthy, and that's kind of what it's all about, is maybe being a little healthier during the holidays. Sean and Therese, we are going to check out that healthy meal, but we'll see you back out in a little bit. We're going to go for a little jog ourselves, a little sprint this morning. We'll see who can win, me or Devin.
My money's on you, John. You've been working out all morning.
That's right.
And then you enjoy that little healthy meal. Abs are made in the kitchen, John. Yeah.
Exactly.
John Treerather, we'll check in with you in just a bit. Thanks so much.
And of course, we want to feature your nonprofit organization, special fundraising event, or unique attraction in our Where's Rick Now segments in the mornings.
Just send us an email to thismorning@winknews.com. You just tell us what's going on. We'll come out with you, have some fun, share some good news about what's happening in our entire community. It's 9:20. You're watching Wink News This Morning on WXCW. Look in Naples there. Welcome back to Wink News This Morning on WXCW. The trailer for the next movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is now a record holder.
The Captain America Civil War trailer broke a Marvel record for number of views within the first 24 hours. Now, the previous record was 35 million views. That was set by an Avengers Age of Ultron trailer. The new mark for Marvel, 61 million views. That's nearly double that original trailer. The film hits theaters May 6th. Clearly a lot of buzz around it already.
Talking about buzz, listen to this. Those 61 million views in 24 hours may be challenged tomorrow. Warner Brothers says it's dropping the next trailer for Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice tomorrow night on Jimmy Kimmel Live. That's actually the same show the Civil War trailer premiered on. Warner Brothers released this teaser Monday. It's only 45 seconds and it already has 2 million views, so we'll see how the full trailer does when it debuts Wednesday night. Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice is in theaters March 25th next year. Excited about that one. This next video is climbing through the ranks of YouTube's top 100, and it's pretty adorable.
Yeah, you gotta watch this. Check out this little guy who cannot wrap his head around automatic doors. Abraham Vargas says he took his son to the grocery store. He let him walk around for the first time, and his reaction to the automatic doors, that's just so darn cute.
It is. I don't know if he ever made it in, but pretty impressive on the outside.
He didn't want to get caught, And of course, it's not just human babies that do cute things. We know animals do it too.
And we know kids learn by seeing and doing, copying their parents or sibling. While this new video in Overnight shows it's the same in the animal kingdom. A little baby goat learns to hop by copying its owner, who's also hopping. Look at this. You can see he's a bit hesitant at first, but with the help of its friend, look at him go. It practically becomes a hopping pro.
BFF. It's like you and Nikita the dog.
Exactly. My little dog does the same thing I do. Okay, one more cute animal video. Look at this corgi we want to tell you about. Chasing his own leash around the plastic crate. This video is only about 14 seconds long, but I think it's safe to assume this adorable display went on for quite some time. I love these dogs, by the way. When I was a kid, I always wanted a corgi.
The shortest legs. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's like a little big body, tiny little legs. Okay, from adorable animal behavior to questionable human behavior. Here's something you might see next year's Redneck Yacht Club.
Yeah, this was posted by Deanna Haynes to YouTube. She titled it The Redneck Spinning Chair. This was at Rock Creek Racing and Recreation in Boonville, Arkansas. So, hey, anyone who goes out to the Redneck Yacht Club here in Southwest Florida, you got to top that next year.
What in the world were you thinking? Just don't do it. I'm sick watching that, I know. And imagine the things that may go on at these Redneck Yacht Club, and then you get in that chair, and you know what else is going around?
Crazy, yeah.
I want to know. Now for some music most people will appreciate. Sir Elton John coming to Southwest Florida.
Looking forward to that. Elton John and his band will return this spring for a show at Germain Arena. It's part of a 9-city concert tour, so we were selected with 8 other cities rather. He'll be at Germain March 9th at 8 p.m. Tickets go on sale though this Friday at 10 a.m. Can't get them before then. I'm sure they'll go out very quickly.
You're excited to see him.
I am. I kind of want to go.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Elton John song?
Tiny Dancer.
Oh,
There you
what
go.
do you know? That might be playing at a wedding coming up next year.
Maybe.
Possibly. Wink News is back in less than 3 minets. We're live on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
You know me too well. You're watching Wink News this morning, Southwest Florida's news leader.
All right, welcome back. We're coming up on 9:30 at the New York Stock Exchange. The opening bell just about to ring.
Let's check in with Wink News Money Watch reporter Jill Wagner at the Stock Exchange for all your business and consumer news. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Trace and Sean. Cyber Monday was a record breaker. Shoppers spent $3 billion during the online sales holiday, up 12% from last year, making it the largest online sales day in U.S. history. And from Black Friday and Cyber Monday to Giving Tuesday, today is a global day dedicated to giving back. The idea started at the 92nd Street Y in Manhattan about 3 years ago, and basically they said after several days of shopping, they wanted people to refocus on giving. The movement has now raised more than $86 million for charity. All right, here on Wall Street, we just heard the opening bell. Looking at the big board right now, the Dow is up about 47 points. A pretty good start to this first day of trading in December. Therese and Sean.
All right, Jill, so we know Blue is back in business for a while, but more news coming from the creamery, Bluebell. What's the latest there?
All right, this time it's good news. It has released a new flavor, pistachio almond. The latest ice cream flavor is a pistachio ice cream. It has pieces of chopped roasted almonds. It's set to hit store shelves next week, and it is the 5th flavor the company has released since its comeback after listeria contamination when they had to shut down the plants. Therese and Sean.
You just kind of want contamination-free flavor, and then anything else, good to go.
Absolutely. I mean, it's good ice cream.
Hold the listeria, right?
Exactly, exactly. Jill Wagner, thanks so much for talking to us today live in New York. We appreciate it. All right, let's get a check on local weather now with Mary Mays.
All right, thanks, Sean and Therese. Getting a look right now at our Sandoval Harbor Mirror at Skycam Beauties. I have another look at your forecast coming up.
Breaking news we're following this morning. Punta Gorda police confirmed the teenager murdered while working the overnight shift at 7-Eleven was shot to death.
This is just coming in according to the Charlotte Sun. It's been 1 month since Kyle Farishian was found dead inside the convenience store after someone called 911 to report a fire there. Police have not made any arrests in the case. You can count on Wink News to stay on top of this developing story for you. Meanwhile, today is World AIDS Day. The first World AIDS Day took place back in 1988, just 4 years after the discovery of HIV.
Organizers say the purpose is for people across the world to unite in the battle against HIV, show support for those living with it, and commemorate those who have died. The group behind this global initiative asks people to wear a red ribbon today and raise money for the National AIDS Foundation. The CDC says more than 47,000 people become infected with HIV each year.
Today you can get a free test in Collier County. They're available from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock at the Marion E. Feather Medical Center in Immokalee. There'll be free testing throughout the county for the rest of the week. For more information, the number there on your screen, just call that 239-252-7300. And right now, dozens of world leaders are in Paris for the second day of a global climate change summit. Today, President Obama wraps up his trip.
And during his time at the summit, the president has pushed other world leaders to do more to protect the environment and talked about the fight against terror. Wink News anchor Jen Stacy, she's followed the story all morning long. She joins us live in the studio with the latest. Jen.
Sean and Therese, thank you. Before today's climate talks got underway, President Obama broke away from the summit to meet with the leader of Turkey. The men spoke about better sealing off the country's border with the ISIS stronghold of Syria. The fight against terrorism has come up before during the president's two-day trip to this summit, which is being held 2.5 weeks after the deadly terror attacks in the French capital. On the climate front, during the summit, the president has met with leaders of the world's other top polluters. The goal, get 147 countries to reduce carbon emissions, enough to keep global warming below 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the level some scientists believe would prevent natural disasters like floods and droughts. The UN's climate chief says that countries are acting out of a much more powerful motive than a desire to save the planet.
They're doing it for what I think is a much more powerful political driving force, which is for the benefit of their own economy. And I think that is really the story here. They have understood that this is actually in their own interest.
The summit points to heavy smog in Beijing today as a sign of the hard work still needed. It looks like nighttime in some of the video coming out of that country, but it's actually the middle of the day in the city's business district. Schools in the Chinese capital were ordered, in fact, to keep students indoors as today's record-breaking air pollution soared 35 times government-regulated safety levels. Any climate agreement reached in Paris would not be legally binding, and it does not require congressional approval. Trace and Sean, over to you.
All right, Jen, thank you. In Wink News Campaign Central this morning, the State Department has released the largest batch of emails yet from Hillary Clinton's private email server.
The latest trove of emails went public hours after Clinton picked up key endorsements from 13 female Democratic senators. In one email sent to her daughter Chelsea on the night of the Benghazi attacks, the former Secretary of State says the incident was launched by, quote, an al-Qaeda-like group. On the Republican side, frontrunner Donald Trump rallied Georgia voters on Monday night with an interesting challenge to CNN.
But how about we do this with CNN? I won't do the debate unless they pay me $5 million, all of which money goes to the wounded warriors or go to vets. Seriously. I would love to do it.
The latest CBS News poll shows Trump may be losing ground to Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Cruz has surged in Iowa to second place. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton will be in the Sunshine State tomorrow for a campaign event in Orlando. Wink News will have a crew out there. You can count on us for complete coverage.
All right, we all know Florida, the land of gators, right? We've all seen them at some point or another. I see them all the time outside my apartment there.
You see them on the golf course
Yeah.
usually too. Sometimes gators can get territorial, and that was the case on one course in Englewood. You got to check this out. These two gators were caught fighting each other at the Mayaca Pines Golf Club on Saturday. Oh my goodness, look at them wrestling there. Some golfers were able to snap some pictures and send them over to us. Witnesses say the fight lasted nearly 10 minutes. We're told the bigger gator, known as Goliath, won this time around. Goliath has been spotted at that golf course several times. We get pictures of him every so often. I wouldn't want to witness a fight, though. I'd be scared. I think I'd be running the other direction.
Well, I have questions about this story.
Okay,
How do you
like?
know who won in a gator fight? Like, is the other one dead,
Is
or,
it, I don't
or is it just
believe
kind of walk
two
away
gators
and
bleed.
throw in the towel? I mean,
I think it probably slumped away into the water, maybe.
that's a great assumption. That's a great assumption.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that
It
one,
looked
too.
sad.
You may think brick and mortar banks guarantee better customer service, but the Wink News Call for Action team found some stats that may surprise you. Why more people are making the switch to online banking. Coming up next.
And one of the world's strongest men just keeps adding to his legacy. Hafthor Bjornsson has a new world record. More of this video coming up. Time now, just turning 9:38. Welcome back. Now on Wink News, evolving technology is dramatically changing how people bank.
In fact, a new survey found nearly 90% of people do some sort of banking online. Wink News Call for Action reporter Lindsay Sablan explains why so many people are making the switch.
Jay Driggers says for the most part he's given up on traditional banking. He's able to do just about everything online with his new bank that doesn't have any branches at all. Why'd he switch?
Convenience, number one, and then number two is I get a much better interest rate on my savings account than I can with a regular branch, that I could walk into.
Virtual banks like USAA Bank, Schwab Bank, Everbank, Discover Bank, and Ally Bank that are online or primarily online get high scores in a Consumer Reports survey of its subscribers.
Our survey showed that those readers who used virtual banks were highly satisfied, the highest levels of satisfaction we've seen with any service we've rated. That contrasts sharply with readers who use the biggest banks.
Chase, Wells Fargo, Citibank, and Bank of America all get relatively poor scores for their fees and only average scores for customer service. In general, virtual banks offer higher interest rates on savings. For instance, Discover Bank pays 0.95%, whereas Chase and Wells Fargo pay as little as 0.01%. To get cash, customers can use a network of fee-free ATMs. If they use other banks' ATMs, they're often reimbursed for the fees.
And despite having almost no branches or tellers, all 8 of the virtual banks in the Consumer Reports survey did well at communicating with their customers.
Still, if you like having a personal relationship at your bank, virtual banking might not be for you.
Lindsay Sablon, Wink News This Morning.
Credit unions also did well in a Consumer Reports survey. They received good marks for customer service and low fees.
Switching banks can be a bit complicated. For advice on how to make the switch, just head over to winknews.com and click on Call for Action. Coming up right after the break, we'll get your most accurate weather forecast with Wink News meteorologist Mary Mays.
You're watching Wink News This Morning on WXCW.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. With the kids jingle belling and everyone.
Welcome back to Wink News This Morning on WXCW. You know, Drew Steele, the host of Daybreak on 92.5 Fox Radio, says the goal collecting 10,000 holiday cards for our troops has been reached.
We're so excited to hear this. The response from Southwest Florida has been so great, and Drew and his staff want to let you know that they are grateful for the outpouring of support from the Southwest Florida community. But just because the goal was reached doesn't mean you still can't send a card. We encourage you to for sure. All you have to do is get a card, write out a heartfelt message showing your support for our service members, and mail it to that address there on your screen. It's P.O. Box 877, Fort Myers, Florida 33902. Drew and the Daybreak team will do the rest. Just make sure that your holiday greeting gets to those brave men and women serving far from home. You may remember we had Drew on the show just last week, was it?
Yeah,
announcing this campaign.
Yeah. And he local effort. This is so impressive. They got the job done. They went after that goal. It was a big goal. Do you remember? It was a huge goal, 10,000, and they got it done.
Well before Christmas. Great to see, Mary. Our goal today is just to keep it sunshiny and rain-free. Can we do that?
We will.
Okay.
Yeah, but second half of the week, that's going to be a little bit harder because we have a cold front that's going to be moving through. It's not going to bring a huge change in temperatures, but we will see the rain. To that rain, we'll see low 80s this weekend. It'll be breezy and dry. Over to you.
Mary, thank you. We want to keep you updated on some breaking news we've learned just in the past couple of hours. Punta Gorda police confirmed that the teenager murdered while working the overnight shift at 7-Eleven was shot to death.
This is according to the Charlotte Sun. It's been 1 month since Kyle Farishian was found inside the convenience store after someone called 911 to report a fire there. Police have not yet made any arrests in this case. You can count on Wink News to stay on top of this developing story.
And some of our other top stories this morning, more protests in Chicago in response to the deadly shooting of a black teen by a white police officer.
That officer, Jason Van Dyke, just bonded out of jail after being arrested for murder. Protesters have been ongoing since last week when police dashcam video was released showing Van Dyke shoot 17-year-old Laquan McDonald at least 16 times on a Chicago street last year. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel will roll out plans for a new police oversight task force later today.
Today, city leaders in Fort Myers will discuss adding more surveillance cameras downtown. They've been considering adding the extra security measures in light of incidents like the deadly ZombieCon shooting last October. The cameras would cost about $300,000 to install. Council members say the money would come from state and federal grants and the city budget. The city says it wants this approved in the next week so cameras can be installed over the holidays.
Today, Florida Fish and Wildlife officers will resume their search for a missing boater from Inglewood. The U.S. Coast Guard suspended its search for 48-year-old Jeffrey Reinhardt, but the FWC says it has no plans to do so. Reinhardt was last seen on Friday. His boat was found a day later off the coast of Naples. Count on Wink News for any updates as this search continues.
Today, defense lawyers for Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev are heading to federal court to ask a judge for a new trial. They're arguing a Supreme Court ruling in June puts 15 of Tsarnaev's convictions into question. They say the jury could not have been objective there. Earlier this year, Tsarnaev was convicted and sentenced to death for his role in the 2013 attack that killed at least 3 people and injured more than 260 others.
About an hour ago, the city of Fort Myers recognized a huge milestone for the city.
That's right. The Old County Courthouse turns 100 years old today. Wink News reporter Stephanie Suskind was at the ceremony marking this historic day earlier this morning. She has more now.
Well, the celebration has wrapped up as the county commission meeting inside this building is now underway, but we want to show you some of these items that will be inside the time capsule. Take a look over here. All of these different mementos and memories of the courthouse, pictures of the courthouse, and some of the original pictures as well, original newspapers and old photos of the courthouse, and also a couple things really cool just to represent our lives today. We have a flash drive right here and of course an iPhone. So all of these items will be put together inside a capsule that will then be placed in the clerk's vault inside this old courthouse building. It was a very nice celebration out here today. County commissioners all talked about some of their favorite memories, and the clerk of court, Linda Doggett, also talked about this building and celebrated it on its 100th anniversary. Reporting at the old Lee County Courthouse on its 100th anniversary, Stephanie Susskind, Wink News This Morning.
Stephanie, thank you. Now to stories that are new this hour right off the Wink wires. 60 years ago today, a 42-year-old woman in Alabama took a stand by keeping her seat.
It was on this bus you see here. Rosa Parks was arrested when she did not give up her seat for a white man. That was December 1st, 1955. Less than a week later, a young little-known pastor named Martin Luther King Jr. led a citywide bus boycott. That chain of events set off what became the civil rights movement and led to a historic Supreme Court rulings banning segregation.
The world's tallest roller coaster could soon be on Orlando's International Drive. Today is decision day for a developer's planned $500 million project. Orange County's Board of Commissioners is set to vote Tuesday on whether to grant zoning approval for the Skyplex Orlando. You see the renderings of it there. The project received a recommendation for approval by a development review committee back in June, but ran into problems in another vote in October.
There's a world record for just about everything. And if you were ever wondering, the record for most people dressed as a member of the Beatles, well, is now happening in Mexico City. John's, Paul's, George's, and Ringo's were out in full force as nearly 300 fans dressed up. And apparently, Mexico City is dedicated to music. It also holds the record for most people dancing to Thriller at one time.
Fascinating. Okay, all-time great slugger Barry Bonds could become the new Miami Marlins hitting coach. Officials for the Florida team have been quietly discussing the possibility for weeks now. Bonds received scrutiny for using performance-enhancing drugs, but still his career ranks 4th all-time behind only Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, and Lou Gehrig. Some big names there. No word yet on when a decision could be made. All right, new on Wink, you know him as the Mountain from Game of Thrones, and now Hafthor Bjornsson has yet another world record to add to his collection.
At a recent strongman competition, he threw a 33-pound keg 24.5 feet up in the air. Watch this.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's not easy, guys. It's unreal. He throws it up there like it's a rag doll. He is now the official keg toss world record holder. The Mountain.
Wow.
Throwing kegs around.
Hafthor Bjornsson. Good for him.
Bjornsson.
Wow.
Yeah, can't believe it. There he is.
I can do that with, like a cardboard box.
Yeah, not the
It's
keg.
impressive.
Only the Mountain. You're watching Wink News This Morning on WXCW.
We're back in just less than 3 minutes.